Hi, I'm Tom, and this video is a supplement to my resume. The following brief clips depict the various styles and techniques that I use in teaching. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy them very much. I hope you could hear that. He gave some very detailed information, and remember, this is his opinion based on his education and experience. So what I would like you to do is to think about these factors: fear, boredom, lack of confidence, and exhaustion. Ancient Rome was around for about 1,200 years. Then it went another almost 1,000 years with the Eastern Empire, and we've been around for about 230 some years. So we have a long way to go to catch up with them. But when he says that they were just exhausted, I wonder how you're feeling about what's going on with us. So if you'll take, it's about 10 after now, how about to about 25 after, just to make some notes, and then we'll jump in, okay? So which cat? Optimistic, okay. So is that what you're pinpointing? You think lack of confidence?
Yeah, I think all three of them, like boredom and fear and lack of confidence, they all tie into one another.
Okay.
So.
And then where would you put yourself?
Probably on the edge. Pessimism and optimism.
Nobody wants to check out. Nobody wants, wasn't there stop the world, I want to get off? It doesn't mean you're running away. You just want to hide from it for a while. Okay, we come up to the last section of the Baroque, and I would like to spend a little bit of time discussing music. And the reason I want to discuss music is because out of the Baroque comes one of the most well-known composers ever to have composed music, and that's Johann Sebastian Bach. And I say that because not only was he influential in his time, but ours as well. He is very deeply embedded in almost every aspect of our society when we consider music. I dare say that it would be difficult for you to go an entire lifetime without hearing a piece of Bach music, even if unintentionally. His music has been used in movie scores. His music is used for television commercials, for example. I'm sure that his music has been played in elevators, possibly by piano players in department stores, and I would think it's impossible for any serious music student to not have been exposed to Bach music over the course of his or her studies. Bach was born in Eisenach, what we would today call Germany. In his time, it was not a full-fledged country. It was a collection of 300 or so states, each governed by its own ruler. And he grew up in a very large musical family, so that by the time he began his professional career, he was well grounded in music and well versed in the ins and outs of every nuance related to music. And he was married a couple of times. His first wife died, and so he married a second time. And between the two marriages, he managed to father 20 children. They didn't all survive, of course, but of those who did, a fair number of them went on to their own musical careers and success. As would be the case with most people of his time, he was very grounded in church. And so he took that interest of his in music and used it to its full extent within his involvement with church, which of course led to a natural interest in the predominant musical instrument in a church, and that's the organ. We know that to be the case even today. You would probably agree that possibly 90% or better of the Christian churches around the globe have some form of organ for their music. And I think our authors, the authors of our Western Humanities texts, capture very well the essence of his work when they say, and I have it right here, it's very brief, Matthews and Platt say that Bach employed all the Baroque musical genres, that would be all the different forms, making his works distinguished by their inventiveness and complete mastery in major and minor tonality. So I have some pieces of music of his that I would like to play for you to show you how this lushness is exemplified in the music of the time. The first will be the Mass. I won't play all of it. I simply want to give you a sample. The second will be the organ prelude, I think in G. And then the last piece will be one of his cello pieces. They're going to be very different, but I think you'll notice when you're listening to them, they all carry that signature lushness and that I associate with the period. So without further ado, see, very, very different music. When he died on July 28th in 1750, his work was so influential on his time period that it was considered an end of an era. And I find that interesting because I imagine we have icons today who could also be considered the ends of an era when they die, and he was one of them. Is so influential that when he dies, the period comes to an end. That's speaking very highly of him and his work. What I would like to do next is spend a little bit of time discussing some of the techniques that Bach used to help make his music as influential as it was and is. And then finally, I'd like to wrap up with Hi, Professor Tom here. Welcome to this week's lecture. Today we focus on the American War of Independence, and it ended right here with the defeat of the British. Today's lecture is being recorded at the Colonial National Historical Park in Yorktown, Virginia. This is the place where the last decisive battle was fought and won by George Washington's colonial army, along with the help of our allies, the French, who helped us with their navy and a strong contingent of their army. This last segment began when the British, under Lord Cornwallis, began moving from the Carolinas to this location here. And as they were digging in, the Allies began gathering in Williamsburg, and on September 28th, they began their march. This was going to be the last battle. They wanted this war won. This was the place. This was the showdown. Cornwallis's army was hopelessly outnumbered. He was pitting his 8,000 troops against more than 17,000 allies. He had this very interesting tactic where when he would get himself caught in a bind, he would use the sea as an escape route. This is where the French helped us. The Navy blockaded any possible attempts of escape by Cornwallis. This, for all intents and purposes, rendered him hopelessly trapped. Within a month, on October 19, 1781, Cornwallis formally surrendered. Upon hearing of the defeat, British Prime Minister Lord North was heard to have said, "Oh my God, it's all over." So today what I would like to do is not only focus on some general information regarding the colonial war with Britain, but I would also like to spend a little bit of time giving you general information about how this last battle went, and I want to spend some significant time discussing the relationship we had with the French. They were very important to our success. And then lastly, since we're here and have access to these wonderful antique weapons, I'd like this cannon, which is an actual war relic. I'd like to show you how they helped Americans win their independence, which we still enjoy today, almost 230 years later.